Hi, my name is Cheryl. In this part of my series of videos on general paper, I'll be going through a full-length essay. This essay was completely planned and written under full exam conditions. I won't read out the entire essay to you as that would be quite pointless, but along the way, I will point out various important things that you might want to take note of. Don't worry, I will pause and give you some time to read, but do feel free to pause the video to fully read the essay if you need to. Here's the question for the essay that we'll be covering today. Consider the view that too much importance is placed on freedom of expression. This was taken from the National Junior College 2015 preliminary exam. This is the introductory paragraph of the essay. I generally like to start my essays with a contextual or general statement relating to the issue at hand. Note that I say issue and not simply topic, as I find that keeping in mind the issue presented in the question helps make your essay sound a lot more focused. Another key component to your introduction would be the assumption. I highly suggest you directly or specifically state the assumption of the question in your introduction, as it will make your essay sound more analytical. The assumption of the question also likely gives the key issue of the question that you must agree with or disagree with in your essay. So stating it in the introduction serves as a good reminder for you as well. In the case of this question, you are asked to consider the view that too much importance is placed on freedom of expression. The question implicitly assumes that there is a supposed right amount of importance that can be placed on freedom of expression in the first place, and that this level of importance placed on freedom of expression can be measured at all. Hence, for such questions dealing with the element of extent, it is important to establish a criterion. As you can see here, the criteria for when there is too much importance placed on freedom of expression is when freedom of expression is not worth the sacrifices of doing so. Failing to specify such a criterion in your introduction would make your entire line of arguments sound extremely fluffy and vague. So far in the introduction, we've covered the context, assumption, and criterion. The next part of our introduction would be the argument outline and your overarching stand. You can see my argument outline over here. I would recommend you signpost your different arguments by using connectors such as nevertheless and ultimately. Also, since I'm seeking to agree with the stand that there is indeed too much importance placed on freedom of expression, I use the conditional word may in my counter-argument. This hints to readers that I'm merely considering this counter-argument and not completely agreeing to it. At the end of my introduction, I've included my overarching stand that directly answers the question. Alright, now moving on to the first content paragraph, we see that this paragraph contains the counter-argument. Do always try to start your paragraphs with a topic statement that directly answers the question. In my experience, by specifying the perspective of or stakeholder's position that you take in your topic sentence, this makes for a more analytical and precise argument. In this case here, I specified that it is from the perspective of idealists that freedom of expression may not have too much importance placed on it. As with all paragraphs, in my first content paragraph, I follow the topic statement with explanation and exemplification of my topic statement. Here, I've used the examples of the First Amendment of the American Constitution and the official French motto. Do make sure to wrap up your paragraph with a link back to the question. Moving on to the second content paragraph, this would be my argument, supporting my stand that there is indeed too much importance placed on freedom of expression. I've specified the point of view here. Another thing to note here is that I've tried to make a direct link from my argument to the criterion that I mentioned in my introductory paragraph. Recall that I said the criterion for too much importance being placed on freedom of expression to be that sacrifices made in society are not worth the right to express oneself freely. Recall that I said the criterion for too much importance being placed on freedom of expression to be that sacrifices made in society are not worth the right to express oneself freely. By linking back to your introduction, this ensures that your essay is cohesive and appears to be well planned. This link to the criterion that I had established in my introduction is further followed up throughout my paragraph, as you see here. Besides this, as part of my explanation, I tried to corroborate my ideas in the paragraph with that of established thinkers to give my argument further credibility. In this case, as I had studied up on the topic of politics before my exam, I used Thomas Hobbes' social contract theory to support my argument that there has been too much importance placed on freedom of expression. I further strengthened my examples by citing the cases of dissidents in Singapore society, as you see here. I further strengthened my argument by citing the examples of dissidents in Singapore, as you see here. However, don't simply state your examples. You should always try to explain how your examples links to and supports your argument. And of course, the paragraph wraps up with a link back to the question. Following this, we have the last content paragraph. Here, I'm trying to argue that from a more pragmatic perspective, freedom of expression compromises on material progress. I've utilized Maslow's hierarchy of needs to support my argument here. However, I would caution against freely using Maslow's theory in your essays unless you ensure that you explain the theory fully and how it links to your argument in detail. For this content paragraph, I used two separate examples to support my argument. First is that for this content paragraph, I've used two separate examples to support my argument that freedom of expression hinders material progress. The first is that of the case of North Korea. As you hear, and I followed up with some explanation on how my example supports my argument. I did the same here for my second example on the Arab Spring. As I mentioned earlier, do try to remember to make a link back from the argument to the question, as it helps ensure that you remain focused throughout your essay and makes your essay look more cohesive. Finally, we have the conclusion. In general, I usually start my conclusions similar to how I would start my introductions, with a general statement that encompasses the gist of my essay. Please do not forget to include your overarching stand in your conclusion that directly answers the question. To summarize this video, we have discussed and analyzed the full essay on the question that there is too much importance placed on freedom of expression. While this is by no means a perfect essay, I sincerely hope that you've. To summarize this video, we have discussed and analyzed the full essay on the question that there is too much importance placed on freedom of expression. While this is by no means a perfect essay, I sincerely hope that you've learned some essay tips in this video. Thank you.